Hey students of class 11, Abhay Shukla this side, and students, we are going to begin the second chapter today, and the title is We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. So in this chapter we will study about the story of a family who just want to repeat the history of a renowned personality once again. Okay, so they face a lot of problem while these boys, and ultimately there are a lot of problems that they face. So what happened inside the way, we will know through this story. Okay, so let us begin the chapter line by line. So what is written? In the July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan 6 years, daughter Suzanne 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England to duplicate the round the world was made 20 years earlier by Captain James Cook. So they just want to repeat the history that was created 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 73rd year, 37-year-old businessman, had dreamed of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer. And for the past 16 years, we had spent all our leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. So he was just preparing himself from the last 16 years to tolerate the atmosphere, the circumstances that he can face while traveling. Our boat, Wave Walker, a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden hull beauty, had been professionally built. So the name of the boat was Wave Walker. It was 23rd meter long, and the weight was 30 ton approx. And it was built professionally. But we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. And they also have tested that boat in the roughest weather. The first leg of our plan, 3 years, 100,000, 1 lakh, 5,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly. So the first phase of their long journey, that was around 1 lakh 5,000 kilometers. So it passed very properly. There was no problem at all, and they sailed towards the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. There, before heading east, we took on 2 crewmen, and from there they have taken 2 crewmen, Armenian Larry Wiesel and Swiss Herb Sigler. So these 2 people they have taken as their guide to help us tackle one of the roughest sea, so that if there will be any mishappening, they can tolerate, they can help them out, okay, in the southern Indian Ocean. On our second day of the Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. So when they reached Cape Town, they began to face very strong winds, and they will continue for some weeks. Gales didn't worry me, but the size of the waves were alarming. He was not afraid of gales, okay, strong winds, but actually the size of the waves, it was really very full of warning. It was just like a warning for them, and it was up to 15 meters, as high as our main mast. Mast means the main pole of the ship. So it was equally as high as the mast. December 25 found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. On 25 December, they have covered around 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town distance. Despite atrocious weather, we had wonderful holiday complete with Christmas tree. Even after so many alarming, horrible weather, they celebrated Christmas also, and New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather. But up to New Year, there was no improvement in the weather. But we reasoned that it had changed soon. But they were hoping in themselves that very soon it will be changed, and it did change, and that change have taken place, but for the worse. But now the weather was bad from the worst. Okay, at dawn on January 2nd, the waves were gigantic. We were sailing with only a small storm jib, and we were still making 8 knots. So on 2nd January, the waves were very huge, and they were sailing with only a small storm zip, and it was and were still making 8 knots. So near about 8 knots they have covered in the sea. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless enormous seas rolling towards us. So when the ship was moving towards through every wave, they were also on the top of the wave. We dropped the storm of the jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in the loop across the stern. Then we double lashed everything. We went through our little raft drill, attached lifeless done oil skins and life jackets and waited. So after equipped themselves with all the things, they just waited and they did nothing. They just preparing themselves for the upcoming danger. The first indication of the impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. So the first warning for them, it came around 6 p.m. with the ominous silence, and it was all over. There was only silence. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. So it was all around very dark. Then came a growing roar and enormous cloud towered after opened the arm of the ship. So suddenly a very strong wave, it fell on the ship. With horror I realized that it was not a cloud. Then they realized that it was not a cloud but a wave like no other I had ever seen. So such huge wave they have never seen in their life. It appeared perfectly vertical and almost twice the height of the other waves, and a frightful breaking crest. So it was really very dangerous. The wave was very dangerous. The roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave, and for a moment I thought we might ride over it. So for a second they were thinking that the wave is so high that they could ride over that. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. Then deck is the front portion of the ship. So a sudden explosion, it shook the deck. A torrent of the green and white water broke over the ship, and the in the very huge quantity, the white and green water was there all around the ship. My head smashed into the wheel, and there was a collision between the rider's head and the wheel, and I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. So it seemed him that he is just sinking in the waves. I accepted my approaching death, and at that moment he thought that now his death is for sure, and I was losing consciousness. I felt quite peaceful. Unexpectedly my head popped out of the water a few meters away, but it was not actually happened. It didn't happen. And unexpectedly his head popped out of the water. A few meters away, wave walker was near capsizing, her mast almost horizontal. So now the mast, which is actually vertical, now it is actually almost horizontal. Then a wave hurled her upright, and my line jumped taut. I grabbed the guard rails and sailed through the air into wave walker's main boom. So he tried to catch the guard rails and sailed through the air into the wave walker's wing. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll. My left ribs cracked, so there was a crack in his left ribs. My mother filled the blood and broken. My mouth was filled with blood and broken teeth. His teeth were also broken, and somehow I found the wheel lined up the stern for the next wave and hung on. Okay. So take the wheel, I shouted, and I screamed for the hatch. Larry and Hub were pumping like madmen. So they were just trying to pour out water like a madman. Broken timbers hung at crazy angles, and the whole starboard side bulged inward. Cloths, crockery, charts, tins, and toys sloshed about in deep water. All these things were just rolling on the water. I half swam, half crawled into the children's cabin. Then he reached to children's cabin. Are you all right? I asked. So they answered from the upper bank, but my head hurts a bit, and said, so pointing a big bump above her eyes. So there was a bump on her eyes. I had no time to worry about bumping heads. So now actually they were in too much danger. That's why he cannot pay attention on that bump. After finding a hammer, screw, and canvas, I struggled back on the deck and with the starboard side washed open. We were taking water with each wave that broke over us. I could not make some repairs, we would surely sink. So they were thinking that definitely their ends now has come. Somehow I managed to stretch canvas and securely waterproof hatch covers across the cabin hold. So from where the water was entering, somehow he was managed to hide that. Some water continued to stream blue, but most of it was being deflected over the side. So most of the water was not deflected. More problems arose when our hand pumps started to block off with the debris floating around the cabin and the electric pump short circuited. The water level rose threateningly. Back of the deck I found that our two spare hand pumps had been wrenched overboard along with the forestry sail, the jib and the dinghies and the main anchor. So then what happened? Then I remembered we had another electric pump under the chart room floor. I connected it to the out pipe and was thankful to find out that it worked. The night dragged on with the endless, bitterly cold routine of pumping, steering and working the radio. We were getting no replies to our mayday calls, which was not surprising in this remote corner of the world. Sue's head had swollen alarmingly. She had two enormous black eyes. Now she showed us a deep cut on her arm. So now there was a deep cut on her arm too. When I asked why she hadn't made more of her injuries before this, she replied, I didn't want to worry you. And when you were trying to save us all, when you are trying to save us all, then we don't want to create any scene for you also. By morning, on January 3rd, the pumps had the water level sufficiently under control for us to take 2 hours rest in rotation. So now they were taking 2 hours rest in rotation, but they still had a tremendous leak somewhere below the waterline. On the checking, I found that nearly all the boatsmen frames were smashed down to the knee. In fact, there was nothing holding up a whole section of the starboard hull except a few cupboard partitions. We had survived for 15 hours since the wave hit, but Bay Walker won't hold together long enough for us to reach Australia. So it was not possible for the Bay Walker that they can lead them to Australia. I checked our charts and calculated that there were 2 small islands a few hundred kilometers. So he went for the maps and he found 2 actually Iceland over a few hundred kilometers from there. One of them was the Isle Amsterdam, was a French scientific base. Our only hope was to reach these pinpricks in the vast ocean. But unless the wind and sea abated so we could hoist sail, our chances would be slim indeed. And the great wave had put our auxiliary engine out of action. So this happened over there. Actually Iceland was their last hope. On January 4, after 36 hours of continuous pumping, we reached the last few centimeters of water. Now we had only to keep pace with the water still coming. Now they have to just compete with the water that was still coming in the boat. We could not set any sail of the main mast. Pressure on the rigging would simply pull the damaged section of the hull apart. So we hoisted the storm jib and headed for where I thought 2 Icelands were. So they just started to move towards the Iceland. Many found some cornered beef and cracker biscuits. So in the way after so many days, after near about 2 days, they add some meal and that was beef and some cracker biscuits. So our respite was short-lived. At 4 p.m. black clouds began building up. Once again, the black clouds began to build up. Within the hour, wind was back to 40 knots and sea was getting higher. Now the waves were once again becoming higher. The weather continued to deteriorate throughout the night and day, and by dawn on January 5, our situation was again desperate. And on January 5, the situation was once again, it was very dangerous. When I went in to comfort the children, John asked, Daddy, are we going to die? Important line. This is John asked, what did he ask? Daddy, are we going to die? I tried to assure him that we could make it. But Daddy, he went on, we are not afraid of dying if we can all be together. Very emotional line he said. He said that we are not afraid to die if we all are together. You, Mummy, Sue and I. So I could find no words with which to respond. Now writer does not have any word to respond, but I left the children Kevin determined to fight the sea with everything I had. To protect the weekend starboard side, I decided to have it with the undamaged port hull facing the oncoming waves using the improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope and 22 liters plastic barrel of the paraffin. So this was all the scene that was over there at that moment. That evening, Mary and I sat together holding hands, and motion of the ship brought more and more water in through the broken planks. We both felt the end was very near. Now they were thinking, as they were tired a lot, they were thinking that definitely the end was very near now. But Wave Walker rode out the storm, and by the morning of the January 6th, with the wind easing, I tried to get a reading on the section. Back in the chart room, I worked on wind speed, changes of course, drift and current in an effort to calculate the position. The best I could do to determine was that we were somewhere in 1,50,000 km of the ocean looking for 65 kilometers wide Iceland. So approximate 65 km wide Iceland was there. While I was thinking, Sue moving painfully joined me. The left side of her head was now very swollen, her blackened eyes narrowed to the slit. She gave me a card she had made. On the front she had caricatures of Mary and me with the words, "Here are some funny people, will they make you laugh?" So she has created some caricatures just to for fun, for the sake of change in scenario. I laughed a lot as well. Inside was a message, "Oh, how I love you both." So this card is to say thank you and let's hope for the best. Somehow we had to make it. Means they have to cover the things as early as possible. I checked and reached my calculation. We had lost our main compass, and I was using a square which has not been corrected for magnetic variation. I made an allowance for this, and another estimate of the influence was westerly currents which flow through this part of the Indian Ocean. About 2 p.m. I went on deck and asked Larry to steer a course of 185 degrees, and we were very lucky. I told him with the conviction I didn't feel he could expect to see the Iceland at about 5 p.m. Then with a heavy heart I went below, climbed on my bunk and amazingly dozed off. When I was woke at 6 p.m. the growing dark, I knew we must have missed the Iceland, but with the sail we had left, we could hope to be back in the westerly winds. At that moment a puzzled head appeared on my bunk, and I have a hug, Jonathan asked. Now Jonathan came and he informed the most happiest information to him. Sue was right behind him, Sue was also with him. Why am I getting a hug now, I asked. Why do you want a hug? Why am I receiving a hug from you all? He asked. Because you are the best dad in the whole world and the best captain. My son replied. And his son said that you are the best daddy and best captain as well. Not today, John, I am afraid. Why you must be so sad? Said Sue in a matter of fact wise. You found the Iceland, and she informed that you have found the Iceland. What? I shouted. What? Is it really true? So it's out of there in front of us. The course as big as a battleship. Now it is just in front of us. I as the deck and gasped with relief at the stark outline of the island Amsterdam. It was only a bleak piece of the volcanic rock with little vegetation, the most beautiful Iceland in the world. We anchored offshore for the night, and for the next morning all 28 inhabitants of the Iceland cheered and they helped us ashore. So all 28 inhabitants, they came and they cheered a lot, they welcomed them. With land under my feet again, my thoughts were full of Larry and Harry, cheerful and optimistic under the direst stress, and Mary, who stayed at the wheel for all those crucial hours. Most of all, I thought of the 7-year-old girl who didn't want us to worry about her head injury. So, and a 6-year-old boy who was not afraid to die. So, this is all about the chapter, students. In this chapter, we have seen that how lucky all these means, how dangerous was the way. But even then, they were able to just face all the things, and the most touching line that was spoken by the son Jonathan was, "We are not afraid to die if we all be together." Okay, so this is all about the chapter. If still you have any query, you can ask me into the school WhatsApp group. Okay, thank you. Keep learning, keep watching. Thank you.